Welcome to JoyTube, where the truth comes alive. In this channel, we dive very deep in explaining the ancient texts and biblical stories. If you are new here, please subscribe and hit the notification button so that you don't miss out on our epic journey. Today, we are looking at the life of Daniel, a captive from Judah who became the kingmaker in Babylon. Stay with me. What if I told you that the most powerful man in an empire wasn't the king, but a foreign captive? That a teenager, stolen from his homeland, rose to become the mind behind multiple thrones? This is not fiction. This is Daniel, and his story is a divine masterclass in courage, character, and calling. In a time when our world is ruled by uncertainty and compromise, Daniel's life whispers a louder truth. You don't need freedom to change the world. You just need favor. Let's step into Babylon. 1. The boy who lost everything. In 605 BC, Babylon stormed Jerusalem. Among the hostages taken was a young teenager named Daniel, bright, noble-born, likely no older than 15. Ripped from home, stripped of identity, given a new name, Belteshazzar, and trained in a system that wanted to erase everything he believed. Like many today caught between faith and culture, truth and trends, Daniel stood in the tension of assimilation versus conviction. But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself. Daniel chapter 1 verse 8. He drew the line not at a battlefield, but at the dinner table. 2. Uncompromising character in a compromised court. Babylon was built on power, pleasure, and paganism. Yet, in the very belly of this empire, Daniel quietly rose. He interpreted dreams. He saved lives. He refused bribes. He rejected idol worship. And somehow, he gained the trust of kings without losing the trust of God. In a world that rewards compromise, Daniel teaches us how to be in the system without being of the system. Your excellence is your evangelism. When King Nebuchadnezzar had a dream that shook the empire, Daniel didn't just interpret it. He revealed what the king never told anyone. Revelation over manipulation. Spirit over systems. 3. The politics of purpose. Daniel outlived empires. He served under Nebuchadnezzar, Belshazzar, and Darius. Kings came and went, but Daniel stayed. Why? Because kings ruled kingdoms, but Daniel governed consciences. When jealous officials tried to trap him by outlawing prayer, he didn't flinch. He opened his window and knelt, as he always had. Public faith, private strength. In an age of cancel culture, Daniel teaches us the strength of silent rebellion, of praying with open windows when the law says close the blinds. Your God whom you serve continually, he will deliver you. Daniel 6 verse 16. That's what even King Darius confessed before tossing Daniel into the lion's den. Power always fears purity. Influence without corruption is more dangerous to politicians than armies with swords. And Daniel's unshakable integrity had become a problem in the palace. The setup, a promotion that threatened the status quo. By the time Darius ascended the throne, Daniel was over 80 years old. Yet, he had so distinguished himself above all the other officials and governors that the king planned to set him over the entire realm, Daniel chapter 6 verse 3. That announcement shook the system. This foreigner, this Jew, this former captive, was about to become the most powerful man under the king. Not a Chaldean, not a Persian, not one of their own. Daniel didn't play the court games, but he kept winning anyway. That made him a threat, not because he schemed, but because he didn't need to. His wisdom, favor, and faithfulness were divine. The trap, manipulating the law to kill a man of prayer. When Daniel's enemies couldn't find any corruption or negligence in his work, they realized something dangerous. We shall not find any charge against this Daniel unless we find it against him concerning the law of his God. Daniel chapter 6 verse 5. So, they devised a law not to expose Daniel's weakness, but his strength. They weaponized the very thing that made him holy, his consistent prayer life. Knowing Daniel prayed to God 3 times a day without fail, they convinced King Darius to issue a royal decree that, for 30 days, no one may pray to any god or man except the king himself. Anyone who disobeys will be thrown into the lion's den. Daniel chapter 6 verse 7. It was a trap cloaked in flattery. Make yourself God for a month. The king, likely unaware of their real aim, signed the decree, unbreakable under Medo-Persian law. The test, windows open, knees bent. Daniel knew the law. He understood the consequences, but his posture never changed. When Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went home, opened his windows, and prayed, as was his custom since early days. Daniel chapter 6 verse 10. He didn't pray louder. He didn't go into hiding. He just stayed consistent. No panic, no protest, no compromise. In today's world, laws are still passed that subtly target the faithful. Cultures still punish public expressions of belief. People still fear those who pray with power and consistency. But Daniel teaches us your purpose is political, not partisan, but disruptive to corrupt systems. When you walk in divine integrity, even the lions will have to fast. Why they made that law? 1. To eliminate Daniel without scandal. They couldn't find fault in his work, so they attacked his worship. 2. To use the system against him. They didn't stab him in secret, they stabbed him through the law. 3. To protect their privilege. Daniel's rise meant their fall. They preferred death to change. 4. Surviving lions and outliving empires. Some trials don't come to test your strength. They come to expose the strength of your God. The arrest, prayer as a crime. The moment Daniel was seen praying, the trap was sprung. The conspirators raced to the king, not to uphold justice, but to twist it. They reminded Darius, "Didn't you sign the law? It cannot be changed." And then came the blow, that Daniel, who is one of the captives from Judah, does not show regard for you. He still prays 3 times a day. Daniel 6 verse 13. Notice the phrasing. That Daniel, disrespectful. One of the captives, diminishing his identity. Does not regard you, manipulating the king's pride. Their goal wasn't just to eliminate Daniel. It was to destroy his influence and erase his legacy. But they underestimated one thing. Favor is not fragile. Purpose doesn't panic. And calling cannot be cancelled. The king who believed too late. Darius, upon realizing he'd been tricked, was deeply distressed. All day he tried to rescue Daniel, but the law he signed had sealed the prophet's sentence. And so, with a trembling heart, the king uttered the most powerful words a ruler had ever spoken over a condemned man. Your God, whom you serve continually, he will deliver you. Daniel chapter 6 verse 16. That wasn't a political statement. That was a confession. Even kings believe in the faith of the faithful. The lion's den, not a grave, but a gallery. They threw Daniel into a pit of lions, sealed it with a stone, and left him to die. But heaven had already made a decision. My God sent his angel and shut the lions' mouths, so that they have not hurt me. Daniel 6 verse 22. Daniel didn't scream. He didn't run. He didn't bleed. Because when God is with you in the pit, the natural order bows to supernatural command. The lions saw royalty in him. The den became a sanctuary, and the trap became a testimony. The vindication, when God speaks through outcomes. At sunrise, Darius rushed to the den and cried out, "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to deliver you?" And out came the voice of a man not only alive, but untouched. Daniel's survival did more than prove his innocence. It exposed the wicked. It reversed the decree. It shifted the entire kingdom. The same conspirators who plotted his death were thrown into the lion's den themselves, but this time there was no angel. 1. The lions you fear might already be under God's command. 2. The pit you're thrown into may become the place of your promotion. 3. And the very laws used to destroy you can end up elevating your story. In this world, character might not protect you from the den, but it guarantees God will meet you there. Daniel didn't just survive Babylon, he outlasted it. Nebuchadnezzar died. Belshazzar fell. Darius passed. Cyrus conquered. But Daniel remained. Because kings die, empires fall. But God's favor makes you outlive the system. 5. The prophet who saw the future. Daniel didn't just survive Babylon, he saw beyond it. He prophesied the rise and fall of global empires, including Persia, Greece, and Rome. He foresaw the coming of the Ancient of Days and the eternal kingdom. In a time when everyone chases influence, Daniel reminds us to chase insight. He wasn't a TikTok prophet. He was a throne room seer. He didn't need a title to have impact. He was God's voice in a foreign land. The call to our generation. You may feel like a stranger in a land that doesn't honor your values, like you've been exiled, forgotten, or overlooked. But Daniel's story whispers to you today. Favor can find you, purpose can preserve you, and truth can elevate you, even in Babylon. You were not born to blend in. You were born to stand out, to govern kingdoms without compromising convictions, to change kings without chasing crowns. Like Daniel, you were born to make empires tremble. So, will you open your window? Like, share, and subscribe to JoyTube for deeper faith-filled stories that fuel your purpose. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.